I lied. The courtroom exploded. Cameras flashed like lightning strikes. 7-year-old Silas Redgrave stood at the witness stand, small hands gripping the rail, gray eyes locked on the judge who held his entire future. Your Honor, this proves. Gerald Fields shot to his feet, expensive suit, predatory smile. I'm not finished. Silas's voice cut through chaos like a blade. Beside the plaintiff's table, Tamara Fields, 26, billionaire CEO, Forbes cover, Ice Queen, stopped breathing. Her knuckles went white against the mahogany. In the gallery, Dominic Calder still wore his EMT uniform from the double shift he couldn't afford to miss. His 6-year-old daughter Elise pressed against his leg, hospital bracelet catching fluorescent light. I hired him, Silas continued. I manipulated him. I asked a stranger to pretend to be my sister's boyfriend. It was all fake. Tamara's world shattered. But the boy wasn't done. I lied then. It's not a lie anymore. Everything you think you know is wrong. The silence that followed Silas's words felt alive. Dangerous. Judge Patricia Brennan, 60s, silver hair pulled back tight, 30 years on the bench, leaned forward. Her reading glasses caught the light from the vaulted windows of Manhattan Family Court. Outside, February snow fell on Center Street. Inside, the temperature dropped 10 degrees. Mr. Redgrave. Her voice was granite. You're testifying under oath. Do you understand what that means? Yes, ma'am. Silas didn't flinch. It means telling the truth. The whole truth. In the press section, 12 reporters leaned forward as one organism. Pens poised. Recording devices live. This was the story. Young CEO's custody battle. Secret relationship exposed. 7-year-old mastermind confessing to fraud. The New York Times would run it above the fold. Tamara couldn't feel her legs. She'd prepared for this hearing for 3 months. Hired Dorian Ravensby, the best family lawyer in New York, $800 an hour, never lost a case. Submitted to Rita Holmes's invasive evaluations. Home visits, psychological assessments, interviews with Silas's teachers. Restructured her entire life around proving she was fit to raise her brother. And now Silas was confessing to a scheme that would destroy everything. Your Honor. Dorian stood, sharp gray suit, face carefully neutral. May I request a recess to confer with? Sit down, counselor. Judge Brennan didn't look at him. Her eyes stayed fixed on Silas. The child is speaking. I want to hear what he has to say. Across the aisle, Gerald Fields, Tamara's uncle, 55, Silver Fox and Brioni, hedge fund billionaire, allowed himself a small smile. He'd orchestrated this moment for 3 years. Ever since his brother's plane went down and this 23-year-old girl inherited everything that should have been his. The company. The trust. The boy. Gerald had been patient. Built his case piece by piece. Documented every missed school event, because Tamara was in Tokyo negotiating a merger. Every nanny hire and fire, because no one was good enough for Silas. Every night Tamara worked past midnight, because running Fields Industries meant 18-hour days. Too young. Too busy. Too cold. The social worker's report said it all. Ms. Fields demonstrates emotional unavailability consistent with someone prioritizing career over familial bonds. Rita Holmes sat 3 rows back, expensive leather portfolio open, taking notes. She'd spent 6 weeks observing Tamara. 6 weeks of scheduled home visits where Tamara performed the role of caring guardian while her real life fell apart outside Rita's view. And now the boy was handing Gerald everything. 3 days ago, Silas said, voice steady, I went to a diner on the Upper West Side. Riverside Diner. Table near the window. Tamara's throat closed. She remembered. Thursday lunch. Conference call with the board. Silas had wandered off while she was arguing about Q4 projections. She'd been furious when she found him talking to a stranger. I saw a man sitting alone, Silas continued. He looked sad. The kind of sad my sister looks when she thinks I'm asleep. The kind of sad that means you've lost everything. Dominic shifted in his seat. Elise's fingers tightened around his. I approached him. I offered him $20. Silas's voice cracked slightly. I asked him to pretend to be my sister's boyfriend. Just for lunch. Just so people would stop looking at her like she was broken. The press section erupted in whispers. Phones emerged. Live tweets launched. Breaking. Child testifies he hired stranger to pose as billionaire sister's boyfriend in custody fraud. Order. Judge Brennan's gavel cracked once. Silence returned. Continue, Mr. Redgrave. He said no at first. Silas looked at Dominic. But then his daughter showed up. Elise. She was sick. Really sick. And I saw it. The way my sister looks when she's scared about the custody case. He looked the same way. Terrified. Helpless. Elise pressed her face against Dominic's side. He stroked her hair with shaking hands. So I made a deal, Silas said. My sister has money. More than she could ever spend. And his daughter needed treatment that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. I thought, his voice broke completely now. Tears spilled. I thought maybe broken people could help each other. Tamara's chest cracked open. She'd thought the hospital visit was chance. Thought Dominic offering to stay during Elise's treatment was kindness. Thought the way he looked at her over terrible cafeteria coffee at 3 a.m. was real. How much had been the scheme? How much had been desperation? Your Honor, Gerald stood, sensing victory. This testimony confirms what we've alleged all along. Ms. Fields staged a relationship to appear stable for this court. She used a child's manipulation to commit fraud. She's demonstrated exactly the kind of. I'm still not finished. Silas's child voice cut through Gerald's legal thunder. Everyone froze. I lied when I approached Mr. Calder, Silas said slowly, carefully. I told him it was just pretend. Just for one lunch. But I was already planning more. I wanted him to fall in love with my sister. I wanted her to fall in love with him. Because she deserves someone who makes her smile. Tamara's breath hitched. But here's the thing about lies. Silas locked eyes with Judge Brennan. Sometimes they become true before you realize it. Somewhere between the hospital and the gala and Friday night when I found them both crying in our kitchen because they thought they were going to lose each other, it stopped being fake. The courtroom held its breath. So yes, Your Honor. I lied 3 days ago. I manipulated a stranger. I orchestrated a scheme. Silas's tears fell freely now. But I'm not lying now. They're not pretending anymore. And if you take me away from my sister, you're not protecting me. You're punishing her for being human. Judge Brennan sat back. In the gallery, Lena Brooks, Dominic's late wife's best friend, 40s, kindergarten teacher, fierce loyalty, wiped her eyes. She'd come to this hearing ready to destroy Tamara. Ready to protect Dominic from a billionaire using him. She hadn't expected a 7-year-old to reframe everything. Mr. Calder. Judge Brennan's voice softened slightly. Would you approach the bench? Dominic stood. His EMT uniform was wrinkled from a 16-hour shift. Coffee stain on the collar. Name tag slightly crooked. He crossed the courtroom aware of every eye tracking him. Working-class hero or opportunistic gold digger. The press hadn't decided yet. Mr. Calder, you heard the child's testimony. Is it accurate? Dominic's jaw tightened. Parts of it. Which parts? He did approach me Thursday. He did offer me money. He did ask me to pretend. Dominic's voice was rough. I said yes because my daughter needed treatment I couldn't afford and I was out of options. That part's true. Tamara felt the knife twist. But the part about falling in love, Dominic looked at her. Really looked at her. That wasn't part of any scheme. That was just what happened when I spent 72 hours with someone who paid for my daughter's surgery without hesitation, who held my hand in a hospital waiting room at 4 a.m., who trusted me with her brother's safety when her entire world was falling apart. His voice cracked. 3 days ago, I was a widower going through motions. Working 2 jobs. Watching my daughter get sicker while I pretended I had it under control. I was drowning. Dominic's hand shook. Tamara threw me a rope. And yeah, a 7-year-old tied the knot. But that doesn't make the rope less real. The courtroom erupted. Reporters shouted questions. Camera flashes created a strobe effect. Gerald's lawyer objected to something. Dorian objected to the objection. Rita Holmes's pen flew across her notepad, recalculating everything. Judge Brennan's gavel struck 3 times. Order. I will have order in this courtroom or I will clear it entirely. Silence crashed down. Ms. Fields. Judge Brennan's attention shifted. Approach. Tamara's legs barely worked. She crossed to stand beside Dominic. Close enough to feel his warmth. Far enough to maintain the pretense of professional distance. Ms. Fields, were you aware your brother orchestrated this relationship? No, Your Honor. Tamara's voice was steadier than she felt. I thought it was coincidence. Luck. The universe throwing me something good for once. And now that you know it was manipulation? Tamara looked at Silas. Her baby brother. 4 years old when their parents died. 7 now. Growing up too fast. Scared she'd be taken from him the way their parents were. Now I know my brother loves me enough to scheme for my happiness. Tamara's voice broke. And I know I failed him badly enough that a 7-year-old had to recruit strangers to make me smile. The truth of it hit like a physical blow. Your Honor, I work 18-hour days. I miss bedtimes. I've brought Silas to board meetings because I couldn't find childcare. I've chosen conference calls over soccer games. Tears streamed down her face, destroying carefully applied makeup. I thought I was being strong, providing, proving I could do it all. She looked at Silas. I didn't realize I was drowning him in my own fear of failing. The courtroom was silent except for camera shutters clicking. Tamara turned to Judge Brennan. If you rule I'm unfit, I won't fight it. Because maybe I am. Maybe a 26-year-old who runs a Fortune 500 company can't also raise a child. Maybe Silas deserves better than a sister who's so terrified of losing him that she forgot how to just be with him. Tamara, no, Silas started. But, Tamara cut him off gently. If you give me another chance, I promise I'll do better. I'll delegate at work. I'll make his games. I'll stop treating every moment like a test I have to pass. She looked at Dominic. And I'll stop being afraid to let people help, even if they were recruited by a 7-year-old mastermind. Dominic's lips twitched despite everything. Judge Brennan studied them. The billionaire CEO in her Prada armor, cracks showing. The EMT in his wrinkled uniform, daughter clinging to him. The 7-year-old who'd orchestrated chaos because he loved his sister too much to watch her disappear. I'm calling a 15-minute recess, Judge Brennan announced. When we return, I'll hear closing arguments. Then I'll make my ruling. The gavel fell. 15 minutes earlier. But this story didn't start in a courtroom. It started 72 hours before, in a diner where a lonely man was about to have his entire life appended by a child's whisper. This is how a desperate scheme became something neither of them expected. 72 hours earlier Thursday, 1:47 p.m. Riverside Diner, Upper West Side, Manhattan. Dominic Calder sat at the counter nursing coffee that had gone cold 20 minutes ago. Around him, lunch rush hummed. Clinking silverware. Businessmen closing deals over club sandwiches. A couple in the corner booth laughing at some private joke. The espresso machine hissing steam. Life happening everywhere except where he sat. He was a ghost in a room full of living people. 18 months. That's how long since the funeral. Since he'd stood in Calvary Cemetery in Queens watching them lower the casket while Elise, 4 years old then, barely understood, asked when Mommy was coming home. 18 months since he'd become a single father with $40,000 in medical debt and a daughter carrying the same genetic markers that killed her mother. The coffee tasted like ash. Everything tasted like ash now. His EMT radio sat silent on the counter. Shift started at 3 p.m. Another 12 hours responding to emergencies he could save while slowly losing the one emergency that mattered. Elisa's blood work came back Tuesday. Dr. Patel's face said everything before his mouth opened. The markers are active. We need to start monitoring closely. There are treatments, but they cost money Dominic didn't have. His phone buzzed. Text from Lena Brooks. Picked Elise up from school. She seems tired. More than usual. Call me. Dominic's stomach dropped. More tired than usual meant the disease was progressing. Meant the ticking clock he'd been trying to ignore was getting louder. He should go. Should check on Elise. Should get to his shift early to grovel for overtime he desperately needed. His hand reached for his wallet. Excuse me, mister. Dominic looked down. A boy stood too close, maybe 7, dark hair perfectly cut, gray eyes that seemed too old for his face. He wore a private school uniform. St. Bernard's crest on the blazer. Shoes that cost more than Dominic's monthly rent. But his eyes were familiar. Haunted. The look of someone carrying weight no child should carry. You lost, kid. Dominic glanced around for a frantic parent. No. The boy studied Dominic with unnerving intensity. I found exactly who I was looking for. Red flag. Dominic's EMT training kicked in. Stranger danger. Where were this kid's parents? Then the boy pulled out a $20 bill. Crisp. New. Probably his allowance. I need to hire you. Dominic blinked. Kid, I'm not. My sister. The boy pointed across the diner. Dominic followed the gesture. Booth by the window. A woman in a black Prada suit sat with her back rigid, phone pressed to her ear, completely absorbed in whatever crisis demanded her attention. Mid-20s maybe. Blonde hair pulled into a severe bun. Diamond studs that caught the afternoon light. The kind of woman who wore power like armor. She's going to lose me, the boy said simply. In 3 days. Unless you help. Dominic's chest tightened. Wrong conversation. Wrong kid. Wrong day for whatever this was. Look, I don't know what you think. Court says she's unfit. The boy's voice didn't waver. Clinical. Reporting facts. Too young to be a guardian. Too busy to be a parent. They're taking me away and giving me to our uncle. And he doesn't care about me. He just wants to hurt her. Dominic's throat closed. I can't help with custody cases, kid. I'm just. You're lonely. The boy's gray eyes pinned him. You sit here every Thursday. Same time. Same seat. Same coffee you never finish. You look at families and your face does this thing, like you're remembering something that hurts. The accuracy was a slap. Who are you? Silas Redgrave. The boy extended his hand like a tiny businessman. And that's my sister Tamara. Tamara Fields. The name triggered recognition. Fields Industries. Manhattan billionaire. Forbes 30 under 30. Youngest female CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Tabloid darling. Ice queen who never smiled in photos. Your sister is Tamara Fields? Dominic's brain stuttered. And you want to hire me to do what exactly? Pretend you're her boyfriend. Silas said it like he was ordering coffee. Just for lunch. Just once. So people stop looking at her like she's broken. The words hung in the air between them. Dominic laughed. Couldn't help it. The absurdity. The audacity. Kid, your sister is a billionaire. She can hire an entire agency of fake boyfriends. Why would she need? She doesn't know I'm asking. Silas's voice dropped to urgent whisper. She doesn't know how bad it is. How lonely she is. How everyone at her company is waiting for her to fail. How the social worker thinks she's emotionally unavailable because she doesn't cry in front of strangers. Dominic saw it then. The desperation under the corporate pitch. This was a child trying to save his guardian the only way he knew how. Silas, listen. She hasn't smiled in 3 years. The boy's voice cracked finally. Child breaking through the mask. Not since our parents died. Not since she became my guardian. She works constantly. Never sleeps. Never eats. And when I hear her crying through the wall at night, she doesn't know I can hear. Something in Dominic's chest cracked. He knew that sound. Had made it himself. 3 a.m. crying. The kind you muffle into pillows. The kind you hope no one hears. I'm sorry about your parents, kid. But I can't. Before Dominic could finish, a small hand tugged his sleeve from behind. He turned. A girl stood there. 6 years old. Hospital bracelet still on her thin wrist from Tuesday's blood draw. Blonde hair in pigtails. Elise. Daddy, I don't feel good. The world tilted. Elise wasn't supposed to be here. Lena was supposed to have her at home. Safe. Resting. Dominic's hand shot to her forehead. Burning. No. Not now. Not yet. What are you doing here, sweetheart? He kept his voice calm while panic screamed through his veins. Mrs. Brooks had to go to a teacher meeting. She dropped me here. Elise swayed slightly. I'm really tired, Daddy. Dominic scooped her up. She was too light. Had been losing weight for weeks. The disease was stealing her piece by piece just like it stole her mother. His radio crackled. Shift in 30 minutes. If he missed another shift, he'd lose the job. If he lost the job, he lost the insurance. If he lost the insurance, how much does her treatment cost? Dominic looked at Silas. The boy was staring at Elise with recognition in his eyes. The look of someone who understood loss. Who knew what it meant to watch someone you love slip away. Kid, that's not. My sister has $800 million. Silas's voice was steady again. Corporate. She donates millions to children's hospitals. She'd help. She helps everyone. I'm not using a sick kid's billionaire sister for. You're not using her. Silas stepped closer. I am. I'm using you to save my sister. And maybe, he looked at Elise. Maybe my sister can help save your daughter. Isn't that what people do? Help each other. Dominic's throat closed. Across the diner, Tamara ended her call. Started scanning the restaurant for Silas. Her face was a mask of professional competence. But Dominic saw the fractures now. The exhaustion around her eyes. The rigid way she held herself. The armor. She looked exactly how he felt. Please, Silas whispered. Just one lunch. Just let her think someone wants to know her. Not her company. Not her money. Just her. Elise's forehead burned against Dominic's neck. His phone buzzed. Lena. ER visit might be needed. Dr. Patel wants to see her today. The ER. Thousands of dollars. Money he didn't have. What do I have to do? Dominic heard himself ask. Silas's face lit up. Just, when she comes over, introduce yourself. Ask about her work. Touch her shoulder like you're proud of her. Make it look real. And then what? Then whatever happens, happens. Silas glanced at Elise. But first, can we please get your daughter to a hospital? Tamara spotted Silas. Started walking over. Phone already rising to her ear for the next crisis. Silas Fields Redgrave, you cannot just. She stopped mid-sentence seeing Dominic holding Elise. Professional mask flickered. Human concern broke through. Is she okay? And just like that, Dominic Calder's carefully controlled life shattered. Because Tamara Fields, billionaire CEO, Ice Queen, untouchable corporate titan, crouched down to Elise's level with her $1,000 suit touching diner floor, and her eyes showed nothing but genuine worry for a child she'd never met. Hi, sweetheart. I'm Tamara. Can you tell me how you're feeling? Elise, fever-bright and honest, said, My mom died. Now I'm sick like her. Daddy's scared, but he pretends he's not. Tamara's breath caught. She looked up at Dominic. And in that moment, that fractured, impossible moment, two drowning people recognized each other across an ocean of grief and desperation and schemes neither of them knew they were part of. My hospital wing has the best pediatric team in Manhattan, Tamara said quietly. My driver's outside. We're going there. Now. I can't afford. Yes, you can. Tamara stood. All business again. But her hand was gentle on Elisa's back. Because right now you're not paying. I am. We'll discuss it later. Right now your daughter needs a doctor. Behind them, unnoticed, Someone raised a camera phone. The photographer Cyrus Van Holt, paid to follow Tamara everywhere, captured the shot. Billionaire CEO, EMT in wrinkled uniform, 2 children between them. They looked like a family. The lie that would save them was already being created. And Dominic, following Tamara Fields toward her black Mercedes with his burning daughter in his arms, had no idea he'd just agreed to the most complicated 72 hours of his life. What Dominic didn't know, Silas had been planning this moment for 2 months. What Tamara didn't know, her business rival had just received that photo. What neither of them knew, by tomorrow, their fake relationship would be on every tabloid cover in New York. And by Monday, they'd be fighting for their lives in family court. But first, they had to get through the next 12 hours without falling apart. Mount Sinai Pediatric Emergency, Upper East Side, 2:34 p.m. The Mercedes smelled like leather and money. Dominic sat in the back with Elise across his lap, watching Manhattan blur past tinted windows. Tamara was up front giving clipped instructions to her driver, a man who'd probably seen everything and said nothing. Mount Sinai. Pediatric entrance. Call ahead. Tell Dr. Chen we're 3 minutes out. Silas sat beside Dominic, small hands folded in his lap. Too calm. Too controlled for a 7-year-old. You planned this, Dominic said quietly. Yes. How long? 2 months. Silas didn't look away from the window. Since I found my father's journal. Since I heard the lawyers tell Tamara she'd probably lose the custody case. Since I realized she was going to work herself to death trying to prove she was good enough. Dominic's chest tightened. Kid, I watched you for 3 weeks before today. Silas's voice was matter-of-fact, clinical. Every Thursday. Same diner. Same time. You'd sit alone. Order coffee. Never finish it. Watch families and look like you'd been gutted. The accuracy stung. I researched you. Dominic Calder. 32. EMT with Manhattan Memorial. Wife died 18 months ago. Daughter Elise Calder. 6. Medical debt $40,000. Living in a walk-up in Astoria. Working double shifts plus weekend construction. Dominic's blood ran cold. You're 7 years old. How did you? Google. Public records. LinkedIn. People share everything. Silas finally looked at him. Those gray eyes, too old, too knowing. I needed someone specific. Someone lonely like Tamara. Someone kind. I watched you help that old woman with her groceries last week even though you were clearly exhausted. Someone who needed help but was too proud to ask for it. So you stalked me. I observed you. Silas's face was stone. Because my sister deserves someone who will understand her. Not some finance bro who wants a trophy wife. Not another board member's son looking for a merger. Someone real. Before Dominic could respond, the Mercedes pulled up to Mount Sinai's private entrance. Tamara was already out, phone pressed to her ear. Dr. Chen, pediatric ER, 6-year-old female, fever, genetic markers for, she paused. Looked at Dominic. Realized she didn't know the diagnosis. Lupkin's syndrome, Dominic said quietly. Hating the words. Same thing that killed her mother. Tamara's face flickered. Just for a second. Then the armor snapped back. Lupkin's syndrome. Active markers. Needs immediate workup. She ended the call. They're ready for us. The pediatric wing was all soft colors and murals of cartoon animals that felt like lies. Happy dolphins couldn't fix genetic disease. Dr. Angela Chen met them at intake. 40s, competent face, eyes that had seen too many children suffer. She recognized Tamara immediately. Ms. Fields. Professional nod. Then to Dominic. You're the father? Yes. When did symptoms start? This morning. Low-grade fever. Fatigue. Dominic's EMT training kicked in. Clinical. Detached. Easier than feeling. She's been declining gradually for 6 weeks. Blood work Tuesday showed active markers. Dr. Patel at Queen's General flagged it for monitoring, but we haven't started treatment protocols. Dr. Chen's expression tightened. Why not? The question landed like a fist. Because treatment costs $180,000 upfront and I make $52,000 a year. Dominic's voice was flat. Because I've been trying to save enough for the down payment while working 70-hour weeks. Because I watched my wife die of the same disease knowing treatment existed but we couldn't afford it. And I'll be damned if I let pride kill my daughter too. The waiting room went silent. Tamara's hand found his shoulder. Gentle. Grounding. Start the treatment, she said to Dr. Chen. Bill my office directly. Whatever she needs. Ms. Fields, that's not. Dominic started. Not negotiable. Tamara's CEO voice emerged. The one that closed billion-dollar deals. Your daughter needs treatment. I can pay for it. This isn't charity. This is... She stopped. Looked at him. This is what people do. Help each other. Silas's exact words from the diner. The scheme was already working. They admitted Elise to a private room. Pastel walls. View of Central Park. TV playing Disney movies. Nothing like the overcrowded ER at Queens General where Dominic usually brought her. Dr. Chen ran tests. Drew blood. Started 4 fluids. Talked about protocols and medication and treatment timelines that all cost more money than Dominic would see in 5 years. And Tamara sat in the corner, working on her laptop, occasionally glancing up to check on Elise like it was the most natural thing in the world for a billionaire CEO to spend her afternoon in a pediatric hospital room. Dominic's phone vibrated. Text from his supervisor. Calder, you're 20 minutes late for shift. This is strike 2. 1 more and you're done. His hand shook. If he lost this job, he lost the insurance. Even with Tamara's help now, he'd still need coverage long-term. Treatment was years, not months. Go, Tamara said without looking up from her laptop. What? Your shift. You're going to be late. She finally met his eyes. I'll stay with Elise. She's safe here. You don't know her. So tell me. Tamara closed her laptop. Gave him her full attention. Something that probably cost thousands of dollars per hour in her normal life. Tell me about your daughter. What she likes. What makes her laugh. What I should know. Dominic's throat closed. No one had asked that question in 18 months. Not since the funeral when everyone had advice but no one wanted to actually listen. She likes stories, he heard himself say. Her mom used to make them up. About a princess who didn't need saving because she saved herself. Elise asks for them every night and I try but I'm terrible at it. I'll tell her one. Tamara's voice softened. I used to tell Silas stories when our parents died. When the nightmares got bad. I'm out of practice but I remember how. Something shifted in the room. This wasn't billionaire helping working class charity case anymore. This was 2 people who'd survived loss recognizing each other's scars. Thank you, Dominic managed. Don't thank me yet. Tamara's smile was small. Tired. Real. I'm probably going to tell her the wrong story and she'll hate me. She won't hate you. Everyone does eventually. The words slipped out before Tamara could stop them. Vulnerability showing through cracks. Before Dominic could respond, Silas appeared in the doorway. Tamara, your phone's been buzzing. Dorian called 3 times. Tamara's face hardened. She checked her phone. Went pale. What? Dominic asked. She turned the screen. Email from Dorian Ravensby, her lawyer. Subject line, urgent. Custody hearing moved up. The message was short. Gerald filed emergency motion. Claims you're hiding a relationship that affects fitness evaluation. Judge moved hearing to Monday 9 a.m. We have 72 hours. Call me immediately. Attached, a photo. The diner. Tamara crouched beside Elise. Dominic standing behind her. Silas between them. The angle made it look intimate. Familial. Like they'd been together for years. How did they? Tamara's voice shook. Cyrus. Dominic recognized the tactic. Your rival. He's been having you followed. How do you know about Cyrus? Your brother gave me a full briefing in the car. Dominic's EMT radio crackled. Another reminder of the shift he was missing. This photo if it leaks to the press. Tamara's phone rang. She answered on speaker. Tamara, we have a problem. Dorian's voice was tight. TMZ just posted the photo. The headline is Ice Queen's Secret Family? It's already trending. Gerald's using it to claim you've been hiding a relationship to manipulate the court's perception. But we're not. Tamara started. Doesn't matter what you are, Dorian cut her off. Matters what it looks like. Rita Holmes is required to file an amended report based on new information. If she thinks you lied to her during evaluation, that's grounds for immediate removal of Silas from your custody. The room tilted. Silas's face went white. They're taking me away because I asked him to lunch? No one's taking you anywhere, Tamara said, but her voice cracked. Actually, Dorian continued, merciless in his legal precision. They might. Unless you can prove this relationship is real and beneficial to Silas's welfare. Rita's coming to your apartment tonight for emergency evaluation. You have papers shuffled. 4 hours to prepare. The call ended. Silence crashed down like a physical weight. Dominic's radio crackled again. Calder, respond. You're officially late. Report immediately or face termination. He looked at Elise sleeping in the hospital bed. At Tamara standing frozen with her phone. At Silas, 7 years old, realizing his scheme had backfired catastrophically. I have to go, Dominic said. My shift. Wait. Tamara grabbed his arm. Rita's evaluation. She'll expect to meet you. If we can't produce you, it proves Gerald's claim that I'm hiding something. You want me to lie to a social worker? I want you to have dinner at my apartment. Tamara's eyes blazed with something between desperation and determination. With me and Silas. Like we've been dating for, how long would make sense? 6 months, Silas supplied quietly. Long enough to be serious. Short enough that keeping it private makes sense given your public profile. They both stared at him. What? I planned this. Silas's voice was small. Scared. I just didn't plan for them to move the hearing up. I thought we'd have 3 months to, he broke off. To what? Make it real. Make them fall in love on schedule? Dominic's radio. Calder, final warning. He made a choice he'd probably regret. I'm calling in sick, he said, silencing the radio. That's my second strike. Third one means I'm fired. But if we're doing this, if we're selling this story to save your brother, we're doing it right. Thank you. Tamara started. I'm not done. Dominic's voice hardened. After Monday's hearing, I'm gone. I'll testify if you need me to. I'll play the devoted boyfriend for the judge. But then Elise and I disappear from your life. You get Silas back. I get my daughter's treatment. We both move on. Of course, Tamara said. But something in her face looked wounded. And one more thing. Dominic looked at Silas. No more scheming. No more manipulation. You tell us what you're planning before you do it. Deal. Silas hesitated. Then nodded. Good. Now, Dominic checked his watch. We have 4 hours before the social worker shows up. Someone want to tell me what a billionaire CEO's apartment looks like so I don't walk in there and blow this immediately. Rita Holmes's evaluation wasn't the only problem brewing. Across Manhattan, in the glass tower headquarters of Fields Industries, Cyrus Van Holt sat in his corner office watching the TMZ story spread across social media. His phone rang. Gerald Fields. Did you see it? Gerald's voice was gleeful. I'm watching it trend in real time, Cyrus said. Number 3 on Twitter. The photo is perfect. This could destroy her fitness evaluation. That's the idea. Cyrus pulled up another window. Fields Industries stock. But there's a secondary benefit. The board votes Wednesday on her removal as CEO. If she's embroiled in a custody scandal, appears unstable, seems distracted, they'll vote her out, leaving the CEO position open. Cyrus smiled. I've been grooming myself for that seat for 3 years. Ever since her father died and she inherited what should have been mine. You loved him. Gerald's voice softened. My brother. You loved him and he chose her to run his company instead of you. He chose a 23-year-old girl with a business degree over a man who'd been CFO for 15 years. Cyrus's voice was ice. He humiliated me. So yes, Gerald. I'm going to take everything he gave her. The company. The boy. All of it. What about the EMT? Cyrus pulled up Dominic's file. He'd been thorough. He's a complication. But useful. If she actually cares about him, he's leverage. If she doesn't, he's evidence she's willing to lie to courts. Either way, we win. He ended the call. Pulled up the photo again. Tamara crouched on diner floor. Dominic protecting his daughter. Silas orchestrating chaos. They looked like a family. Two bad families were so easy to destroy. Mount Sinai, 6:47 p.m. Elise woke up groggy from medication. Saw Tamara sitting in the chair beside her bed instead of her father. Where's Daddy? He had to go to work. Tamara closed her laptop. But he asked me to stay with you. Is that okay? Elise studied her with the brutal honesty of sick children who'd learned early that adults lie. You're pretty, she said finally. But you look sad. Tamara's carefully constructed mask flickered. What makes you think I'm sad? Your eyes. They're like my daddy's eyes after Mommy died. Like you're trying to remember how to be happy. The accuracy stole Tamara's breath. That's very observant, she managed. I'm good at noticing. Elise sat up slightly. Silas said you needed help. Is that true? Tamara glanced at the door where Silas was pretending to read a book but clearly eavesdropping. Yes, she admitted. I need help. What kind? The kind where I prove I can take care of my brother even though I work too much and forget to smile and apparently everyone thinks I'm... Tamara stopped. This was a 6-year-old. Not her therapist. But Elise just nodded. Broken. That's what people think about Daddy too. Because Mommy died and he didn't know how to fix it. Is he broken? A little. Elise's wisdom was heartbreaking. But not too much. He still makes me pancakes on Sundays. He still tells me stories even when they're bad. He still tries. That's what matters. The trying. Is that what you do? Try. Tamara's throat closed. I try to be enough. For Silas. For the company. For everyone. Everything. The whole world that expected her to be perfect. My mommy used to say enough is enough. Elise smiled. Small. Tired. You don't have to be more. Just enough. And Tamara Fields, 26, billionaire, Forbes cover, Ice Queen who never cried, felt tears slip down her face. Your mommy was very wise. I know. Elise reached out a small hand. Hospital bracelet catching fluorescent light. Silas is lucky. He has you. I'm the lucky one, Tamara whispered. In the doorway, Silas watched his scheme shift from manipulation to something more dangerous. Something real. When stories find their way to the people who need them most, subscribe before the next twist proves nothing is coincidence. Dominic's apartment. Astoria. 7:15 p.m. Dominic stood in front of his bathroom mirror trying to look like someone who belonged in a billionaire's penthouse. His only suit, bought for his wife's funeral, still smelled faintly of mothballs. The tie was wrong. Everything was wrong. Lena appeared in the doorway. She'd agreed to stay with Elise overnight at the hospital. Now she looked at him like he'd lost his mind. You're really doing this? Playing boyfriend to Tamara Fields? It's complicated. Is it? Lena's voice sharpened. Or is it simple? Billionaire pays for your daughter's treatment. You pay her back by lying to courts. Transactional. Clean. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Dom? Lena stepped into the bathroom. Because from where I'm standing, you're using a sick kid's manipulation to get money from a woman you met 6 hours ago. And that sounds exactly like something you swore you'd never do after. Don't. Dominic's voice cut like steel. Don't bring her into this. Your wife. The woman who died because you were too proud to ask for help. Lena's eyes filled with tears. She was my best friend. I watched her beg you to sell the house, the car, everything. And you said no. You said you'd find another way. The words landed like bullets. I was trying to save her. You failed. She died anyway. Lena's voice broke. And now you're accepting help from a stranger because why? Pride finally broke? Or is it just easier when the stranger looks like a supermodel and owns half of Manhattan? Dominic's hands gripped the sink. Knuckles white. I'm not using Tamara. A 7-year-old recruited me to save his sister from a custody case. I said yes because my daughter was burning with fever and I was out of options. That's it. And the fact that she's paying $180,000 for Elisa's treatment is something I'll pay back. Every cent. Dominic's jaw locked. I'm not a charity case. Then what are you? The question hung in the air. What was he? A widower playing boyfriend. An EMT about to lose his job. A father accepting help from someone he'd never met because his daughter's life depended on it. I'm doing what I have to do, he said finally. To keep Elise alive. Lena studied him. Then sighed. Your wife would kill me for saying this, but maybe that's enough. Maybe surviving is enough. She touched his shoulder. Just don't lose yourself in the process. Don't become someone who uses people. I won't. But as Dominic left for Tamara's penthouse, he wondered if he was already becoming exactly that. Tamara's penthouse, Upper East Side. 7:58 p.m. The apartment was obscene. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. Art that probably cost more than Dominic's entire building. Kitchen with appliances he couldn't identify. Living room bigger than his whole apartment. And Tamara, changed from her Prada suit into jeans and a simple sweater, somehow looking more intimidating in casual clothes than she had in corporate armor. Rita will be here in 2 minutes, she said. Silas briefed you. Your brother is terrifyingly thorough. He gets it from our father. Tamara's smile was sad. Dad used to say proper preparation prevents catastrophe. Turns out he was wrong. You can prepare for everything and still lose it all in a plane crash. Before Dominic could respond, the doorbell rang. Tamara took a breath. Became someone else. Softer. Warmer. The version of herself that courts expected to see. Ready? No, Dominic admitted. But let's do it anyway. Rita Holmes stood in the hallway. 50s, sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, carrying a leather portfolio that probably contained every damning word she'd written about Tamara's unfitness. Ms. Fields, thank you for accommodating this emergency evaluation. Rita's eyes landed on Dominic. And you must be the mysterious boyfriend. Dominic called her. He extended his hand. Sorry for the secrecy. Tamara wanted to keep things private given her public profile. How long have you been dating? 6 months, Tamara said smoothly. We met through mutual friends. Didn't want media attention affecting Silas until we knew it was serious. Rita's pen moved across her notepad. And now it's serious. Dominic looked at Tamara. Remembered her crying in the hospital. Remembered her sitting with Elise without being asked. Remembered the way she looked at Silas like he was her entire world. Yes, he said. It's serious. Rita smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. Good. Then you won't mind if I ask some questions. To verify your story. The interrogation had begun. And in 72 hours, everything they built on lies would be tested in a courtroom where the truth mattered more than survival. Rita's questions would reveal cracks they didn't know existed. The press would turn their photo into a scandal they couldn't control. And by tomorrow morning, Tamara would face a choice. Protect her company or protect the man who'd become more than a scheme. But first, 2 children were about to discover their parents weren't the only ones playing games. Rita settled into the pristine white sofa like she owned it. Portfolio open. Pen poised. Eyes moving between Dominic and Tamara with the precision of a surgeon looking for disease. So, 6 months. Rita's smile was clinical. That means you started dating in August. Where was your first date? Dominic's mind went blank. They'd never discussed this. Never prepared. Riverside Diner, Tamara said smoothly. Upper West Side. He was having coffee. I was drowning in a conference call. Silas wandered off and started talking to him. Rita's pen scratched. Romantic. It was real, Dominic countered. Everything since then has been about being real. No pretense. No performance. Interesting choice of words. Rita's eyes sharpened. Mr. Calder, what do you do for work? EMT. Manhattan Memorial. Salary. The question landed like a slap. Around $52,000. And Ms. Fields is worth approximately $800 million. Does that power imbalance concern you? Every day, Dominic said honestly. But what concerns me more is that everyone sees her bank account before they see her. Like she's a number instead of a person who works herself sick trying to prove she's good enough. Tamara's breath caught. Rita's pen paused. You have a daughter. Elise. 6 years old. Lupkin's syndrome. Dominic's jaw tightened. Yes. Expensive condition. Treatment runs around $180,000 initially. Did Ms. Fields offer to pay for it? The trap was obvious. Say yes. Prove he's using her for money. Say no, get caught in a lie. She insisted, Dominic said. My daughter was sick. Tamara didn't hesitate. That's who she is. She helps people. Convenient timing, though. Rita flipped pages. Your daughter gets sick. Ms. Fields pays. Suddenly you're the devoted boyfriend 3 days before a custody hearing. You think I'm using her? Dominic's voice hardened. Lady, I don't know your story. Don't know what makes you see the worst in people. But I watched my wife die because we couldn't afford treatment. So when Tamara offered to save my daughter, yeah, I said yes. And if that makes me a gold digger in your eyes, I don't care. Because Elise is alive. That's all that matters. The room went silent. Rita studied him. Then Tamara. Then closed her portfolio. I'll need to observe you together. Naturally. Not performed. She stood. I'll be back tomorrow. Unannounced. If this relationship is real, you'll have nothing to hide. She left. Dominic's phone vibrated. Text from an unknown number. Smile for the camera. Check TMZ. He pulled up the site. Front page. The photo from the diner. Headline. Ice Queen's secret baby daddy? Fields caught in shocking family scandal. We're viral, he said hollowly. Tamara looked at the screen. Went pale. Her phone rang. Cyrus Van Holt's name flashed. She answered on speaker. Congratulations, Tamara. His voice was silk over steel. You're trending. The board will love this. See you Wednesday for the vote. He hung up. Dominic met her eyes. What vote? The one where they decide if I keep my company. Tamara's voice was hollow. It's Wednesday. Same week as the custody hearing. I'm about to lose everything. Earlier that day. 4:23 p.m. Elise disappeared behind examination room doors. Dominic paced the waiting area. EMT uniform still carrying the smell of the diner's burnt coffee. His radio sat silent on the chair. Third strike incoming. Job probably gone. Worth it if Elise lived. Tamara sat beside Silas. Phone screen lighting up every 3 seconds. Notifications exploding. She silenced each one without looking. Why are you helping? The question came out harder than Dominic intended. Tamara's hands stilled on her phone. Because I know what it's like to watch someone you love suffer while everyone with power does nothing. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Her voice went hollow. My parents' plane went down 3 years ago. Private jet. Mechanical failure. I was 23. Silas was 4. The board tried to declare me unfit to run the company and raise him. Too young for both. Too emotional. Too female. Dominic stopped pacing. You're not unfit. Tell that to my uncle who spent 3 years building a case against me. Tell that to the 12 board members who want me replaced with someone seasoned. Tamara's hand shook. Tell that to Rita Holmes, who wrote in her report that I'm emotionally unavailable because I don't cry in front of strangers. Silas leaned into her side. Small. Scared. That's why I asked him. Because you deserve someone who makes you smile. Before Tamara could respond, Dr. Patel emerged. 40-something. Tired eyes behind wire-rim glasses. Mr. Calder. Elise is stable. But I need to be honest. Her blood work shows the same markers that killed my wife. Dominic's voice cracked. I know. There's a treatment. Experimental. FDA approved but not covered by insurance. Dr. Patel hesitated. It's expensive. How expensive? $180,000 upfront. Another $50,000 annually for 5 years. The waiting room tilted. Dominic's EMT salary was $52,000. His construction side work barely covered rent. Even if he worked until he died, he'd never schedule it. Tamara stood. CEO mode activated. Ms. Fields, that's not. I said schedule it. Steel wrapped in silk. Bill my office directly. If anyone questions this, tell them to call me. I can't let you, Dominic started. You can't stop me. Her eyes blazed. I watched my parents die instantly. No goodbyes. No chance to save them. I won't watch your daughter when I can actually help. Dominic's walls shattered. He sank into a chair, head in hands. 18 months of holding it together. Gone. Silas sat on one side. Tamara hesitated, then took the other. 3 broken people held together by desperation. Why? Dominic's voice was raw. You don't know me. Because Silas chose you, Tamara said quietly. And my brother has better instincts than most adults I know. Tamara's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. Went pale. Email from Dorian Ravensby. We have a problem. Check TMZ. She clicked the link. Ice Queen CEO's secret baby daddy? Fields caught in shocking family scandal. The diner photo. Dominic's hand on her shoulder. Both kids between them. They looked like a family. Tamara scrolled. Gerald Fields CC'd on Dorian's email. This proves she's hiding a relationship. Custody hearing moved to Monday. 72 hours. She looked at Dominic. We have 3 days to make this look real. Friday morning. 7:18 a.m. Dominic woke on a couch that cost more than his car. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Central Park like a postcard. Art on the walls, original pieces, probably. Worth more than he'd earn in his lifetime. Voices drifted from the dining room. Small. Conspiratorial. If we can keep them together for 3 more days, the judge will see she has a family. Your dad looks at Tamara the way my dad used to look at my mom. Dominic sat up. Silas and Elise hunched over tablets at the glass dining table, whispering like tiny war generals. How long have you two been planning this? Silas jumped. Elise grinned, completely unrepentant. Since the hospital, Elise said. We decided. Decided what? That you and Tamara should be together for real. Her 6-year-old logic was bulletproof. You're both sad. Sad people should help each other stop being sad. Silas pulled up his tablet. I've been researching you for 2 weeks. Dominic's blood froze. What? I watched you at the coffee shop near Tamara's office. Every Thursday. Same table. Same sandwich. You looked empty. Like Tamara. Silas's gray eyes held no apology. You're kind. You help strangers. You tip 30% even when you can't afford it. You look at Elise like you'd burn the world down to keep her safe. You stalked me. I observed. Clinical. Cold. This is survival. Elise nodded. Hospital-wise beyond her years. You need money for my treatment. Tamara needs proof she's not alone. Silas needs Tamara to keep him. I need a mom who's not dead. The brutal honesty stole his breath. When children become masterminds, you've already failed them. Tamara emerged from her bedroom, tailored pantsuit, hair perfect, armor on. Behind her, Dorian Ravensby, 50-something, carrying his own ghosts. The custody hearing is Monday, Dorian said without preamble. Rita will testify you're emotionally unavailable. Gerald will present evidence you're unfit. Unless you prove you have support. Unless I prove I'm human, Tamara finished bitterly. Dorian looked at Dominic. The photos helped. Attend tonight's gala as a couple. Show up to Monday's hearing together. Changes everything. We're not. Dominic started. I know, Tamara cut him off. But they don't. And if pretending saves Silas, then we pretend. Dominic stood. But after Monday I'm gone. I'm not a prop. I'm not asking you to be. Their eyes locked. Something unspoken passed between them. Respect. Recognition. Maybe something more dangerous. The TV flickered. CNBC morning show. Cyrus Van Holt's polished face filled the screen. Ms. Fields's recent personal developments raise questions about her focus. The board votes Wednesday on her removal as CEO. Her emotional judgment appears compromised. The diner photo appeared. Enlarged. Analyzed. Dissected. Dominic's stomach dropped. He wasn't just helping Silas. He'd become a weapon aimed directly at Tamara's throat. Friday night. 8:47 p.m. The borrowed tux didn't fit. Shoulders too tight. Sleeves too long. Dominic stood in the Metropolitan Museum surrounded by Manhattan's elite. People who spent his annual salary on watches. Tamara entered in emerald green Versace. The room went silent. She took his arm. You're my boyfriend of 6 months. We met through mutual friends. You're an EMT, proud of your work. Don't apologize for who you are. Who says I would? Every other man I've dated. They entered the gauntlet. Cameras flashed. Whispers followed like ghosts. Lena Brooks appeared at coat check. Saw them. Her face went nuclear. That's her. She hissed as Dominic passed. You're replacing your wife with billionaire Barbie? It's not. 6 months. It's been 18 months since the funeral. 6 months ago you were crying yourself to sleep. Don't lie to me. His cover nearly cracked. But Tamara squeezed his hand. Let them talk. We know the truth. Mid-gala, photographers swarmed. Not social photographers. Tabloid hunters. Ms. Fields. Dating an EMT making $50,000 while you're worth $800 million. Dominic, are you with her for the money? Is this relationship real or a custody stunt? Security moved. Too slow. The kids, Silas and Elise, Lena brought them, pushed through the crowd. Dominic instinctively shielded both children. The flash that followed captured everything. Dominic protecting them, Tamara at his side, looking at him like he mattered. In a quiet gallery, away from cameras, Tamara shattered. I can't do this. They're right, I'm using you. Using your daughter. Using everyone to prove I'm not a monster. Tears destroyed perfect makeup. Maybe I am unfit. Maybe Silas deserves better than a sister who can't even. Dominic pulled her close. Not romantic. Supportive. You're raising a 7-year-old alone while running a billion-dollar company. You work 18-hour days and still read him bedtime stories. You paid for my daughter's treatment without hesitation. His voice was fierce. You're not unfit. You're extraordinary. From the doorway, Silas and Elise watched. Their plan working better than imagined. Lena appeared. Dominic. Now. She pulled him aside, voice urgent. I did research. Tamara Fields isn't just rich. She's targeted. Cyrus Van Holt loved her father. Obsessively. When her father died and she inherited everything, Cyrus vowed to take it all. The custody case? He's funding it. The board vote? He's leading it. Why tell me this? Because your fake girlfriend is walking into a trap. And Monday's hearing. Lena's eyes burned. It's already rigged. Saturday. 3:17 a.m. The call came while Dominic was still processing Lena's warning. Elise. Nightmare. Fever spiking. Collapsing. They rushed to Mount Sinai. Dominic, Tamara, Silas. Dr. Patel met them, face grave. The treatment needs to start immediately. Not next week. Now. Do it, Tamara said. I can't. Dominic's voice broke. I can't take more from you. You're already saving your daughter's life? Tamara's eyes blazed. That's not taking. That's what people do when they... She stopped. Nearly said care. In the waiting room, as Elise underwent emergency procedures, Dominic's walls crumbled. My wife begged me to sell everything. Our house. My truck. She wanted the treatment. His voice was hollow. I said no. Said we'd find another way. She died 3 weeks later. That wasn't your fault. Wasn't it? His hand shook. I chose pride over her life. Now history's repeating. Except this time you're offering salvation and I'm too broken to accept it without feeling like I'm failing again. Tamara sat beside him. My parents died instantly. No goodbyes. For months I thought, if I'd been on that plane, if I'd convinced them to drive. She broke. Guilt is a luxury we can't afford when kids are counting on us. How do you function when everything's falling apart? I don't. Raw honesty. I cry alone. Panic attacks in my office bathroom. Sleeping pills for nightmares. But I show up. For Silas. Because he deserves someone who fights. Dominic took her hand. Not planned. Real. I haven't felt this human in 18 months. I haven't felt this safe in 3 years. Silas appeared from the doorway. I need to show you something. A leather journal. His father's handwriting. Last entry before the crash. If I don't make it, remind Tamara. Worth isn't measured in dollars. Find her someone who loves her for who she is, not what she has. Someone real. Someone broken enough to understand. Fields Sr. I found this 2 months ago, Silas whispered. That's when I started looking for you. You orchestrated this entire thing based on your dead father's journal? I orchestrated this because I love my sister. The journal just told me what to look for. Dr. Patel emerged. Elise is stable. Treatment started. But I need consent forms. Insurance verification. And, he hesitated. Someone anonymously paid the full treatment cost. $430,000. Wired an hour ago. Tamara's phone wasn't with her. It wasn't me, she breathed. Security footage review showed Cyrus Van Holt wiring the money. The note attached. Consider this advance payment for what I'm about to take from you Monday. Monday. 9:03 a.m. Manhattan Family Court. The courtroom was packed. Press section overflowing. Tamara stood in Prada armor. Dominic beside her in his only suit. Silas on the witness stand, small hands gripping the rail. Judge Brennan stared down. Mr. Redgrave, is this man your sister's romantic partner, or were you coached? Gerald Fields leaned forward, predatory. Rita Holmes's pen poised. Cyrus Van Holt smirked from the gallery. Silas looked at Dominic. At Tamara. At Elise in the front row. I lied. Gasps. Cameras flashed. Tamara went white. I approached Mr. Calder 3 days ago and asked him to pretend to be my sister's boyfriend. I hired him. I manipulated him. It was all fake. Gerald shot up. Your Honor, this proves. I'm not finished. Silas's voice cut through chaos. I lied then. But it's not a lie anymore. My sister never smiles. She works constantly. Reads me stories when she's exhausted. She thinks she's failing me, but she's not. She's the bravest person I know. Tears streamed. I found Mr. Calder because he looked lonely like Tamara. Because his daughter was sick. Because I thought maybe broken people could fix each other. I was right. They're not pretending anymore. Judge Brennan looked at Dominic. Mr. Calder, is this true? Dominic stood. Your Honor, 3 days ago I agreed to a scheme because I was desperate. My daughter needed treatment I couldn't afford. Ms. Fields offered help. But somewhere between the hospital and the gala and the moment she held my hand while my daughter fought for her life. His voice broke. It stopped being fake. She became a person. I started feeling human again. So you're confirming this relationship is real? I'm confirming I care about her. More than I thought I'd ever care about anyone again. Before the judge could rule, Cyrus stood. Your Honor, I'd like to withdraw my support for Mr. Fields's custody petition. Chaos erupted. Gerald spun. Cyrus, what? I've been punishing her for surviving when the man I loved didn't. Cyrus's voice cracked. Her father was my best friend. His last words were, "Take care of my girl. I failed him. I'm sorry." Judge Brennan studied Tamara. I've reviewed the report. Heard testimony. Watched you these past 3 days. Yes, I had you observed. Tamara's blood froze. What I saw was a young woman who works impossibly hard, loves her brother fiercely, and is capable of deep connection. Custody remains with you. Case dismissed. Tamara collapsed into Dominic. Silas ran to them. Elise joined. For people bound by lies that became truth. Outside the courthouse, Lena waited. You're not done. The board votes Wednesday. They're still coming for her. And you just became her biggest liability. Wednesday, 2:14 p.m. Fields Industries boardroom. 12 board members. Cyrus abstaining, face haunted. The vote to remove Tamara as CEO, 6-5. 1 vote away from termination. Ms. Fields, your personal life has become a distraction. Board Member Harrison, 60, distaste clear. Your relationship with an EMT earning 1/15 of 1% of your salary raises questions about judgment. Dominic stood from the gallery. May I speak? This is a closed. Let him, Tamara said. I'm the distraction you're worried about. Let me tell you what I've learned about your CEO in 72 hours. Dominic's voice carried. She paid $430,000 for my daughter's treatment without hesitation. She works 18-hour days and still reads bedtime stories. She runs a Fortune 500 company while fighting for custody of her 7-year-old brother. When I was drowning in grief and debt, she didn't see a project. She saw a person. Mr. Calder, you want to fire her because she showed humanity, because she fell for someone outside your tax bracket, because she proved she's more than the Ice Queen. He looked at Tamara. I came here as part of a scheme, a kid's desperate manipulation. But I stayed because I've never met anyone stronger. If you fire her, you're not protecting this company. You're destroying the only thing that makes it worth saving. Board member Chen changed her vote. 6-6 tie. Tamara kept her position. She found Dominic in the lobby. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. Because somewhere between the diner and the hospital and the courtroom, I stopped pretending. So did I. 6 months later. Dominic's apartment. Brooklyn. Elisa's treatment working. Weight gained. Color returned. Tamara visited in jeans and a sweater. Not Prada anymore. Silas taught Elise chess. Both kids whispering, scheming. They're planning again, Dominic noted. Should we be worried? Probably. Tamara's penthouse lease was ending. She'd been looking at Brooklyn townhouses. Closer to your place, she'd said. Not my place. His. Dominic proposed with a handmade ring. Tin from his late wife's favorite coffee can. Shaped during sleepless hospital nights. I can't offer diamonds or penthouses or anything you don't already have. But I can offer something no one else has. A man who loves you for exactly who you are. Not what you built. Not what you earn. Just you. Tamara cried. This is the first thing anyone's given me that didn't want something back. Is that a yes? Yes. Most people never find someone who sees them completely. But when whispers become truth, miracles happen in the quiet moments between desperation and hope. 10 years later, Silas, 17, gave the best man speech at his sister's vow renewal. 10 years ago, I hired a stranger to save my sister. Best $20 I ever spent. Elise, 16, healthy and thriving, grinned. We orchestrated this. We did, Silas agreed. Still taking credit, Dominic muttered. Always, they said in stereo. Dominic and Tamara, surrounded by the family they'd built from loneliness and lies, just smiled. Their son, 3 years old, named after Tamara's father, slept in his grandmother's arms. Lena, who'd become family despite everything, wiped tears. Cyrus attended, older now, carrying flowers to place at the memorial for the man he'd loved. Gerald hadn't spoken to Tamara in 10 years. His loss. Remember when you recruited me in a diner? Dominic asked. I didn't recruit you. Silas did. Best recruitment of my life. Mine too. Some love stories start with love at first sight. Theirs started with a whispered lie, a desperate scheme, and two broken people brave enough to let the pretense become the truth. And in the end, the truth was simple. Sometimes the family you scheme for becomes the family that saves you.